This is the Montreal Canadiens, and for the last few years, it has been extremely clear that this franchise has been in full rebuild mode. The second youngest team in the NHL heading into the 24-25 season meant that this team wasn't exactly built to compete in the NHL playoffs this year. And 30 games into the season, they were dead last in the East and doing what everyone expected. But fast forward to the new year, and the Habs are somehow in the playoff mix with a chance to become one of the youngest teams in NHL history to make the postseason. So what exactly is going on here? Are the kids just feeling it, or have the Habs finally arrived? Well, let's take a look. The story of the Montreal Canadiens so far this season has been two different teams. Before December 17th, this team was in the basement of the league. A .417 point percentage, a -31 goal differential, and a brutal save percentage was about on par for a team that wasn't really built to make the NHL playoffs. Yet despite their youth, Captain Nick Suzuki was clear in the offseason that he wanted to put the rebuild behind him and make the playoffs. However, for a lot of analysts, Montreal was projected to be a 75-point team. Then something clicked. Since December 17th, the Habs are 10-2-1, and literally every single metric from goals for right down to save percentage have all seen drastic improvement. So let's start offensively and with their top weapon in Cole Coffield. Coffield leads the entire NHL in goals when 5-on-5. As an undersized player, you need to be incredibly smart and quick to do just that. When watching Coffield find open ice, he, like the best goal scorers in the game, know how to find the soft spots in between coverages. But one way he does this consistently is below the goal line and by the post. Usually, as the play heads up to one side of the ice, Coffield is frequently the main target for the cycle option on the opposite side. When the Canadiens win a battle along the wall, you'll find Coffield usually getting lost and using the net for separation to arrive on the far post. With most defensive schemes trying to maintain a tight box and cut off any change of sides, it usually leaves him wide open. This is why Slafkovsky and Suzuki are the perfect line mates for Coffield. Slafkovsky's size and skill allow him to beat defenders one-on-one off the wall, and when that happens, it forces a double team, and Coffield is likely in that soft spot. If Slafkovsky can get the puck to Coffield, it creates a grade A scoring chance. Combine that with Suzuki's two-way sense of the game and overall playmaking ability, you have everything you need from a top line. The trick, of course, is consistency. Then you have Lane Hudson, the 20-year-old D-man who has been averaging 22 minutes of ice time as a rookie and is already making Habs history. We talked a lot about his impact in our Calder video where we go over all three of the candidates, but his presence has allowed Montreal to be far more dynamic in all three zones. His skating, edge work, and head fakes make him a slippery devil to defend against. And as a winger going man coverage against Lane Hudson, it's a nightmare. It also transforms how Montreal can create offense as a whole. Teams and players don't want to get burned trying to cover him to a man, so they naturally become more passive when attacking the blue line. With all that extra space, Montreal can park a third forward up high and exploit it for a solid chance. This mobility on the back end also allows Montreal to be creative and fluid in the zone. And we're seeing this more often from Montreal as a five-man unit. Watch here as Kirby Dach starts this play out of the corner, and with Tampa playing man, he's going to go for a skate around the world to shake off his check and Braden Point. All of a sudden, Point has no man, so he defaults to the slot. Then Laine and Matheson are going to run a scissor route on the perimeter to try and create some confusion for Tampa's man coverage. There's a slight pick, and now Matheson has the puck with space. Dach, at this point in time, has arrived at the front of the net to outnumber the sole Lightning defender, and Braden Point is forced to step up on Matheson because Kucherov lost his man on the switch. The Tampa defender takes Dach, Point pressures the puck carrier, and Newhook pops out because, well, he's all alone. It's a beautiful symphony when it all comes together, and right now, motion is lotion for the Habs offense, and it's working wonders. Even when you look at the transition, you compare them to one of the best teams in the NHL and one of the most effective rush teams in the league in the Washington Capitals. Our friends at Sport Contract show that Montreal has better percentages when it comes to both controlled zone entries and zone exits. Again, Lane Hudson is a massive contributor to this. By activating as the weak side D and frequently giving Montreal an outlet to transition with numbers, Their best players can cook off the rush. Even defensively, watch how Hudson uses his skating and stick to angle off the St. Louis puck carrier on this 2-on-2, and once it's quickly snuffed out, he banks it off the boards to a support in Suzuki, and now Montreal catches St. Louis with their pants down on the transition. Coffield bursts through the middle like he's late for work and rips one. Now, the challenge for such a young team is always finding the balance between letting their skill sets fly while playing a structured style that wins hockey games. But when you have good structure, it gives you more opportunities to be more creative. Take Patrick Laine. In the neutral zone, he's getting on his horse to create back pressure and forcing turnovers from Montreal to get heading on offense. His good structure away from the puck is allowing Montreal to transition, where he can use his deadly release and be creative off the rush. Yes, I know, most of his goals come on the power play, but his confidence has truly come from his attention to detail away from the puck that has made him and Montreal better as a whole. Now, of course, you can't have true success in this league unless you learn how to defend. And as of late, Montreal has been drastically better at this. At the beginning of this season, they were the 31st ranked team in terms of goals against. And because of that, there was a lot of noise surrounding whether or not they should change their D-zone structure as a rebuilding team. Andrew Brewer had a great piece on this with Sportsnet, but basically, the Habs play a hybrid system. They play zone coverage down low and then switch to man-on-man up high. The idea is that it can be the hardest system in the NHL to generate offense against, as 4 of the past 5 Stanley Cup champs have used this system. Hybrid is the perfect mix between structure and pressure when done right. But when you have a young team like the Habs, playing man-on-man and trying to pick up all these split-second switches against all these other motion offenses can be extremely difficult. So switching to a straight zone coverage would simplify the game for Montreal's young core. But that is short-term thinking, and Martin St. Louis knows it. He made it a point to say that this is how the team wants to play when they're competitive. He stuck to the process, and it's slowly starting to pay off. Since December 17th, they've only allowed 2.27 goals per game. That would rank first in the NHL. And the most difficult part to this system is communicating and handling the switches. When it goes from low to high or teams start to activate their own movement, staying with your assignment like Montreal has been doing is the key to success. When done right, offensive teams are faced with pressure and bodies all over the O-zone to limit any dangerous chances. Strong structure then creates offense like it does here against Vegas. First, Vegas tries to go low to high. They got no options. Montreal then transitions to man, so Vegas says, okay, let's try down low again. Hudson as a D and Doc as the center understand their assignment and switch. The 2 wingers close in tight to form the box and take away the most dangerous part of the ice, which is the middle. Vegas sees this and says, okay, let's move it to the open points. But the wingers flex out perfectly in unison and everyone else temporarily attaches to a man and it's blocked. The crisis is handled and now the fun begins. It's Montreal's possession, it goes the other way, and sure enough, it ends up in a goal. That is the structure and execution St. Louis was looking for, and now it's paying dividends for sticking with it. Of course, all of these details, both offensively and defensively, have made life a bit easier on their goaltenders. But Sam Montembeault and the rookie Jakub Dobeš have been spectacular when they've been needed. Put all of this together, and you have a team that has come from the depths of the basement and pulled themselves right into the playoff race. Despite internal expectations, this team wasn't exactly built to contend for the playoffs this season. Being the second youngest team in the NHL means that they're going to have massive swings, both good and bad. But if Montreal continues to stay in the dogfight battle in the East, they could shock everyone by the end of the season.